Thunder fans, your post-game, Travis and Lonix with Thunder manager Shawn Chacon after the Thunder tonight to El Trueno get the win 8-5 with Mahoning Valley Scrappers. Game 1 is 3-game set. Game 1 is 6-game homestand. Thunder now won 4 in a row and get back to 500 ball, 8-8 on this season now. Shawn, talk about just getting a win 8-5, back at home now, in front of the home crowd, start his homestand.
Good to be home. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me again, bro.
Yeah, of course.
I expected this, and I said it, 2 days ago when we talked. I told, Mike Warren, I was on the radio today. I said I fully expected us to play better at home. I don't think that last homestand or the one before that was any inclination or indication of how, well our team has been playing. And it was nice to come out and get the first win against Mahoning Valley. First win of the series is always a big one. And that gives us more momentum heading into tomorrow, game 2.
100%. Start off with pitcher tonight. Got him today from Texas. Just interviewed him. Bryson Dudley. 3 strong innings, 5 Ks.
He's nasty.
Yeah.
Bryson Dudley was absolutely nasty. And not only that, he's a physical presence. Big kid, focused. He was excited to be here. A lot of times you have guys come in their first outing. It's hard for them to control their emotions and all that. But, he had it on lock from the first pitch, gave up a couple doubles. But other than that, I thought he was dominant.
Yeah, 100%. The press box, throw 95-97, mix in the breaking balls with other pitches really well, efficient.
Yeah, efficient through strikes. And that's the thing that you see now that gives our team a chance to win is that the pitchers are coming in, whether it's the starter or the relievers, and they're throwing strikes. And these guys have good stuff. So I think they're starting to see that if, they attack the zone, they see how much success they can have.
Yeah, it's Jacob Paternak, 2-run home run in the second inning, RBI single in the third, continues to be on a tear. Wanted him to be draft league player of the week. Success just continues. What a player he is.
Yeah, Jacob, again, I tell people all the time, Jacob, he started out slow, but we could see the tools, we could see the focus, the swing. He works hard. The kid is as strong as anybody I've been around. And you know what? He just continues to improve and get hits, and his power numbers now are increasing. So seeing him hit that 2-run homer tonight was, I think, probably a bigger confidence boost for him than anybody else because we know it's in there. But it goes a long way, and he just keeps bringing in runs, man. He's an RBI machine.
Yeah, I believe he leads the league in RBIs now, and either tied close to it with Hooley for hits in the league.
Yeah.
So great stuff there. I'm gonna ask you about on that play, Belza got injury collision there. Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. He got banged up a little bit. Naturally, that was one of those plays where the ball's in the same place as the base was. So, inadvertent contact, but he took a fall, and I believe he may have jammed his elbow and his shoulder on the ground. But I think he'll be fine. He might be banged up a little, but he's good.
It's good to hear. And play in the 5th inning, inside the park home run. I don't see that too often. Tough play there.
Yeah, you know what? We can't tell if it's fair or foul either. And there's so little space between the foul line and the fence down the lines now. So I thought Frosman made a good play. And, it's tough that it went all the way to the wall because, you make that play and it's like, highlight play, but you don't. And that's what happened. So, I don't think, anybody was thinking too negatively about that play, especially when you go aggressive like that. We'd just seen Sheffield make that play a couple innings before on the other side. But yeah, that's baseball, man. It happens.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned it first year. Tell the fans and everybody listening, first year with the netting and the fence there at the ballpark here.
Yeah, so it's different. There was more foul room before they made these improvements by extending the netting to protect fans. And putting new fence in, it made the lines really, really tight to the walls. So, like I said, Fraser made the right play sliding in, I bet you, 9 out of 10 times he probably makes that play. So,
yeah. You mentioned Chef, talk about his catches he did make in the outfield there. Huge
plays in the outfield. And you know what? The kid has, steadily improved. And if you're not paying attention, he's made progress, especially defensively. And that comes from confidence. I think, he's starting to see, his work pay off a little bit. He didn't get any hits tonight, but he was squaring up the ball. I just hope these young players understand that that's their goal. is to hit the ball hard, and you know, you can't control what happens after that. So, you know, hopefully he keeps on doing what he's doing.
Yeah, how about having his pops, Gary Sheffield Sr., building today, and field BP, walking the guys, helping guys out?
Yeah, Gary's a good friend of mine. We played together in 05, 06. So, you know, having him around for me obviously is exciting, and love to see, you know, some of the homies from back in the day. But the way his presence around batting practice day was awesome, and I hope these young guys understand how lucky they were and are to have a guy like that around to share his wisdom. So, you know, it was definitely a treat today.
It's awesome. Back to the game. In the sixth inning, a tight game it was before you guys kind of added on late. Strike him out, throw him out. Clayton Johnson on the mound and struggling, but a huge play there. Strike him out, throw him out. Schroeder to Gent.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I keep saying it, but these guys, whether they are trying to or not, they're playing for each other, you know, and they're picking each other up. So, you know, Clayton's struggling a little bit. We're trying to get him dialed in. But yeah, the strike him out, throw him out. I mean, you know, we're thinking double play there as coaches. Naturally, we're hoping for a double play. That one's, you know, not the one you always draw up, but that definitely helped us, you know, because that inning could have turned and been a whole different ball game.
Yeah, and the home half of the inning, Harry led off here again. A single in the inning that two stolen bases in a row, second and third base. Second base almost there before pitcher threw the ball, and then swiped third base and scored on John Schroeder's single there.
Mm-hmm. Well, so Harry's he's a smart, intelligent base runner. He's just smart and intelligent, you know, and no matter what he's doing. But I've been telling him he gets on base and he tends to do that. He jumps and he tries to anticipate, and he's usually right. So I tell him to quit jumping and just go. And tonight he did that. He got into position to score, and like that, when you do that, when you have guys on the base paths that can do that, it just, you know, it makes it a lot easier to produce runs, you know, and as a team, I mean, that's what the name of the game is.
Yeah, awesome. And then I mentioned you guys added on 7th inning, 3-run 7th inning. Mike Cooley came off the bench tonight, hustled double there, saw the ball, kind of hesitated and went hard. We saw he got body outfit a little bit.
Yeah, we call that play, well, you know, the hustle play, but the way we talked about it in the dugout is the baseball knows it's kind of like a karma thing, you know, where he makes that play, he makes it to second, he hustles and ends up at second, and, you know, we're in the dugout saying watch how he scores, because that's how baseball does you. Like if you're an outfielder there and you lag on that play, you can almost guarantee that the baseball gods are gonna, you know, make it a point to show you why you can't do that. So learning moment for them, I think, but also just shows again why Mike Cooley is who he is.
Yeah, and soon after that, Rowan Massey RBI single, and he went to third base on the play. Again,
I'm telling you,
again,
I've said it. He's experienced. They're older, not necessarily older in age, but they're just experienced. A lot of these guys, you can tell, have been around baseball a long time, and they live and eat and sleep it. And you know, again, that's one of those plays where, you know, if you're on the opposite side of it, like baseball knows, and that's kind of a phrase we use. And those runs score when you don't, you know, make those plays. And tonight we were able to take advantage of them, and they actually turned out to be huge runs. So
yeah, you had Carson's bat to 2-run single to add on there in that inning. And then just want to touch on anybody else in the bullpen. Jared Bonet struck out the side in the 8th inning.
Yeah, Jared's been nasty, but you go back to Karsten, like coming off the bench is tough, you know, and he came off and he's so even keel and steady as it goes. And, you know, he and Jaden Sheffield have been working on their hitting and stuff like that. And, you know, I think he was happy to see some of his results tonight in his work. Then you jump to Jared Bonet in the 8th. I mean, just dominant. I mean, again, in his last few outings, he's been that way. So that's another guy I expect to see, you know, get his name called, you know, come July. Yeah,
it's awesome. Went to Weaver's, had good success so far. A little bit hits in that inning, a couple runs, but touch on him.
Yeah, Weaver did good. He had to battle. And you know, these are those nights that I like for pitchers, especially because you got to dig deep and you got to learn. Like, you know, he might have dominant stuff, but it doesn't matter. It's baseball. It doesn't always play that way. So, you know, it was good for him to see a little struggle and work his way out of it and end up, you know, shutting the game down for a win. So I think, you know, the fatigue may be setting a little bit just from this first week here with some of these newer guys. And maybe it's time to give them a couple of days off, you know, and get them hungry again.
Yeah, like you said, in that statement, you got the win. That's what matters most, right? Got the win, go to four wins in a row now, 8-8 overall. Took the first game as homestand in series versus Mahoning Valley. Game 2 of the series tomorrow. Do you have a pitcher starter tomorrow?
Tomorrow's starter is Caden Spivey, Georgia Tech kid. So, again, we expect a good showing from start to finish. The Thunder will keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir, 100%. Keep it rolling. Again, Thunder manager Shawn Chacon, post-game after Thunder beat Mahoning Valley Scrappers, 8-5 final score. Thanks as always, Shawn, for your time. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Travis.
Yes, sir.